Hey everyone. I never thought I'd be writing one of these, but here I am, a year after my world fell apart, and I finally need to share the whole story. I'm Mark, I'm 33, and by all accounts, I was the steady guy, the reliable one. My wife Chloe and I were together for a solid decade, married for 6 of those years. We met in college. She was this brilliant burst of energy, the life of every party, always dragging me out of my comfort zone. And I was the anchor, the guy who made sure we got home safe, who remembered to pay the bills, who planned our future. I truly believed we were the perfect team, opposites balancing each other out. My loyalty wasn't just a word, it was action. When the startup she worked for collapsed 2 years into our marriage and she lost her graphic designer job, I didn't blink. I took on a mountain of freelance coding work on top of my 9 to 5, working nights and weekends to make sure we didn't miss a single rent payment while she sent out resumes. I even turned down a life-changing lead developer role in Austin with a huge salary bump because she loved our life in Portland. She didn't want to leave her sister and her close-knit friend group, and I agreed. "We'll build our life right here together," I told her. And I meant it with every fiber of my being. I was the planner, the cook, the listener. I scheduled weekend getaways to the coast to surprise her. I cooked her favorite meals after her long, frustrating days at her new agency job. I sat and listened for hours as she vented about office politics. I even spent a small fortune on front row tickets to see that obscure indie band she was obsessed with, knowing it would make her month, even though buying them meant I had to skip a major industry conference. A conference that could have connected me with people who would boost my career. But I didn't care. Her smile was worth it. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the air in our home changed. It started about 8 months before the end. Chloe became physically present but emotionally distant. She was constantly glued to her phone, her face lighting up with a smile at a notification. Only for that smile to vanish the second I entered the room. She'd quickly flip the screen face down. Our conversations, once full of dreams and stupid jokes, became transactional. "Did you pay the electric bill? What do you want for dinner?" Then came the comments, little passive-aggressive digs disguised as observations. "Ugh, our life is so predictable," she'd sigh on a Saturday morning. "Some of the guys at my new agency, they're so spontaneous. They just book last-minute trips to Vegas or go to underground concerts. It's so exciting." I brushed it off, blaming her stress, her need for novelty. I doubled down on being the steady one, thinking that was what she needed. The girls' nights became more frequent, and they stopped being just dinners. She'd come home at 11, then midnight, then 1 a.m., her clothes smelling of bar smoke and a hint of unfamiliar cologne mixed with her perfume. I'd lie awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, my trust warring with a growing, sickening knot in my stomach. But I always gave her the benefit of the doubt. She was my wife. I chose to trust her, even as my own foundation began to quietly crack. The final night, a cold Wednesday in October, started like any other. She was buzzing with a nervous energy. "Just a quick dinner with Sophie and a couple people from work," she said, kissing my cheek. "We'll be at that new Italian place. I'll be home by 10, promise." I nodded, told her to have fun, and settled in with my laptop. 10 p.m. came and went. No text. By 11:30, the worry set in. I sent a casual, "Hey, everything okay?" into the void. No response. By 1 a.m., I was pacing, my mind racing through worst-case scenarios, car accidents, emergencies. I called her phone 3 times, each ring cutting off, going straight to a voicemail that was already full. At 2:17 a.m., I heard the fumbling of keys at the door. The lock clicked, and she stumbled in, her heels dangling from her fingers, her hair escaping its once perfect bun. She was giggling to herself, a loose, unfocused sound. "Sorry, babe," she slurred, dropping her purse with a thud. "We just completely lost track of time. You know how Sophie gets when she starts telling stories about her crazy ex." She wafted towards me, leaning in for a kiss. And that's when I smelled it. Beneath the wine was the sharp, cheap scent of bar cologne. Not mine. My heart was pounding, but my face went calm, a survival instinct. "Sounds fun," I said, my voice flat. I had been mindlessly scrolling through Instagram while waiting, just to keep my hands busy. And that's when I saw it. A story posted an hour ago by her best friend, Sophie. It wasn't a restaurant. The video was a chaotic, strobe-lit snippet from a packed nightclub downtown. The bass was thumping so hard I could feel it through my phone. And there, in the center of the frame, was Chloe, my wife. She was pressed up against a man in a crisp black suit vest, a man I had never seen before. His hands were firmly on her waist, her arms were wrapped around his neck, and they were kissing, not a peck, but a deep, passionate, intimate kiss. The caption below it was like a physical blow. Girls' night took a wild turn. I felt the room tilt, my stomach dropped like a stone, but a strange, icy calm washed over me. The kind that comes when denial finally shatters and you're left with only the cold, hard truth. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there on the couch, holding my phone, letting the image burn itself into my mind. This wasn't a private mistake. This was a public declaration, tagged for all our mutual friends to see. She flopped down on the couch beside me, reaching for the TV remote, completely oblivious to the bomb she had detonated. "So," she said, her words still slightly slurred, "what did you do tonight? Catch up on that boring nature documentary series you like?" I didn't answer. I simply turned my phone screen towards her. My thumb holding the video paused on that exact frame of betrayal. For a second, there was only the hum of the refrigerator. Then her face underwent a terrifying transformation. All the color drained away, leaving her pale as a ghost. Her eyes widened in pure, unadulterated panic. Her mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. "What? Where did you get that?" She finally stammered, her voice a hoarse whisper. She snatched the phone from my hand as if that would make the evidence disappear. That's some old clip. Sophie must have posted it as a sick joke. Or it's from years ago, before we were even serious. "It's from tonight, Chloe," I said, my voice eerily steady. "That's the Club Lux. Their neon sign is right there in the background. Who is he?" The fight left her body in a rush, replaced by a theatrical, exasperated sigh. She ran a hand through her messy hair. "Okay, fine, you got me. It was just a stupid kiss. That's Liam. He's a new sales guy at the agency. We all went to the club after dinner. We had way too many tequila shots, and it just happened. It meant nothing, babe. I swear, you are totally overreacting right now." Overreacting? I repeated the word slowly, letting it hang in the air between us. "Yes," she snapped, her defensiveness surfacing. "It's not like I slept with him. God, can't I have a little fun? Maybe if our life wasn't so meticulously planned, so safe, so boring all the damn time, I wouldn't need to go out and feel alive for once." Each word was a deliberate dagger. She was twisting the knife, reframing my loyalty as a prison, my stability as a character flaw. The man she described, the boring, predictable anchor, wasn't me. It was a caricature she'd built to justify her own actions. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I didn't see the woman I married anymore. I saw a stranger in that moment. Any love or hope I had left evaporated, leaving behind a clean, empty space. "If you think I'm so boring," I said, my tone conversational, almost quiet. "And if Liam is so exciting, then maybe you should go be with him." The shock on her face was genuine. She hadn't expected this. She expected tears, pleading, a fight she could win, not calm resignation. Her shock quickly morphed into indignant anger. "You know what?" she said, standing up, her posture rigid. "Maybe I will. I need some space to breathe anyway. You're suffocating me with this perfect husband act." She stormed into our bedroom, and I listened to the violent sounds of her packing, drawers slamming, hangers clattering, zippers snarling. She emerged 20 minutes later with a stuffed duffel bag, didn't say another word, and walked out. The front door clicking shut behind her with a terrifying finality. The silence that followed was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. But I didn't break. I didn't cry. I sat in that silence until the sun came up, And then I got to work. I called a divorce lawyer first thing. I want it clean, fast, and fair, I told him. No drama, just dissolution. Then I called a locksmith and had every lock on the apartment changed by noon. I methodically went through our home, packing every single item that was hers into cardboard boxes, the half-used perfume bottles, the novels on her nightstand, the collection of fancy teas she never drank. I didn't leave a single trace. I loaded the boxes into my car, drove to her sister's apartment, left them stacked neatly by the door, rang the bell, and drove away before anyone could answer. I blocked her number, her Instagram, her Facebook, everything. This wasn't an act of petty revenge. It was a surgical removal, a necessary amputation to save the rest of me. I knew if I heard her voice, if I saw her face, I might falter, and I couldn't afford to. The man who would have faltered died that night on the couch. The following weeks were not about grieving. They were about rebuilding from the ground up. I joined a boxing gym, not to get ripped, but because the physical exhaustion was the only thing that could quiet the tornado of thoughts in my head. I found a therapist and started untangling the mess of guilt, betrayal, and shattered self-worth. I focused on my work with a terrifying intensity, and 3 months later, when my boss, who had heard about the personal issues through the grapevine, quietly offered me that Austin-level promotion locally, I looked him in the eye and said, "Yes, absolutely, thank you," without a moment's hesitation. I also adopted a dog, a scruffy, anxious rescue mutt named Buddy. He forced me out of bed every morning for walks. He made me laugh with his silly antics, and his unconditional love was a balm on a wound I didn't even know how to treat. Slowly, my apartment stopped feeling like a crime scene and started feeling like a home. My home. Meanwhile, the universe began to balance the scales. I didn't go looking for information, but in a city like ours, with overlapping social circles, news has a way of trickling back. It came in fragments from mutual friends, their tones shifting from cautious to pitying over the months. The story was a cliché, but no less brutal for it. Liam, the exciting sales guy, was a facade. He was deeply in debt, leasing a flashy car he couldn't afford, and had a reputation for being controlling and volatile. Chloe, riding the high of her liberation, had quit her stable agency job, convinced by Liam that they should freelance together and travel. The freelance work was sporadic. The money vanished quickly. The glamorous Instagram posts of them at rooftop bars slowed, then stopped altogether, replaced by vague, melancholic quotes about learning who your real friends are and trusting the wrong people. The comments from her old friend group dried up. By the 6-month mark, the inevitable happened. Liam ghosted her. He simply vanished, changed his number, and left her holding the bag for a mountain of shared expenses she couldn't pay. She was broke, professionally blacklisted from her old agency due to the drama, and utterly humiliated with no other options. She moved out of the apartment she'd shared with Liam and onto her older sister's couch in the suburbs. The woman who had traded stability for excitement was now a cautionary tale, couch surfing at 30. Around month 8, the tentative reach-outs began. I had unblocked her number temporarily on my lawyer's advice to sort out one final piece of paperwork, and she seized the opening. First came a text, "Hey, thinking of you today, hope you're okay." I deleted it. A few days later, another, "Can we please talk? It's important." Delete. Then a voicemail, her voice cracked and raw with tears. "Mark, please, I made the biggest mistake of my life. Liam was a monster. He manipulated me. He took everything. You were always my rock, my safe place. I'm so lost. Please just talk to me." I saved the voicemail for my lawyer as proof of her instability if needed, but I never wrote back, not a single word. Her desperation peaked when she showed up at my new condo one Saturday afternoon. I had moved after my promotion. Buddy started barking before the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there she was. She looked years older, thin in an unhealthy way, her eyes holding a permanent look of tired panic. "I see now," she blurted out before I could speak. "I see exactly what I had with you, what I threw away. We could try again. I've learned so much. I've changed. I'd appreciate you this time. I'd never take you for granted, I promise." I stood in the doorway, not letting her cross the threshold. I felt nothing but a profound, almost peaceful detachment. "You told me I was boring, Chloe?" I said, my voice quiet but firm. "You said you needed passion and excitement, not safety. You made your choice, and you got exactly what you asked for. That chapter of my life is closed. I've written better ones since." She began to cry, real, shaky sobs. But when she saw they had no effect, the tears turned to anger. "How can you be so cold, so heartless? After 10 years, you just shut the door?" "My heart was open for you every single day for a decade," I replied. "You are the one who chose to walk out of it. The person you're looking for doesn't live here anymore." I closed the door gently, the lock engaging with a soft, definitive click. The final public closure came at our friend Michael's wedding. I was there with Emma, a woman from my new gym, smart, funny, and grounded, someone who valued my consistency as a strength, not a flaw. Chloe was there alone. She looked isolated on the edge of the dance floor, watching the happy couples. She waited for her moment, slipping over to me when Emma went to the bar. "Please, Mark," she whispered, her voice thick with a rehearsed pleading. "I have nothing left. I lost my career. My friends see me as a joke. I'm so alone in this. Don't you remember us? Don't you remember what we built?" I looked at her, then across the room at Emma, who was laughing freely under the twinkling string lights. A wave of absolute peace settled over me. "I remember everything, Chloe," I said, meeting her gaze. "I remember the man I was, the man who would have moved mountains for you. And I remember the brutal price he paid for that devotion. I am not that man anymore. Your loneliness is not a consequence of my actions. It is a consequence of yours, and it is not my responsibility to fix." I didn't wait for a reply. I turned and walked back across the dance floor, back to Emma, back to the music and the light, and I never looked back. The divorce papers are signed and filed. My life now is simple, but it is full. I'm leading a team at work and finally feeling recognized for my mind, not just my reliability. Emma and I are taking things slow, building something real with honesty and mutual respect. And Buddy is curled at my feet, snoring softly as I type this. The sharp pain is a distant memory, replaced by a quiet, unwavering understanding. Stability is not boring, it is freedom. Loyalty is not a weakness, it is the ultimate strength. And sometimes, the most satisfying revenge is not a grand gesture, but the silent, steady triumph of building a peaceful, happy life on the other side of the storm. Thanks for listening, Reddit.